looking at him. Old Diesel. Further instructions. Presently, Bill and Ben steamed into the yard. There were no trucks for them to take, so they decided to play their game. Bill found an empty truck and bumped it towards Ben. "Heads up, Ben!" shouted Bill. "Careful, you two. This is exactly how you put me out of service," scolded Rosie. "Lighten up, Rosie. At least you can get some time off work. Yeah, we're only having fun." The twins continued to play their game no matter how much Rosie tried to stop them. Diesel took no notice. He had wisely decided to stay clear. Then there was trouble. Bill pushed the truck too hard. "A train!" cried Diesel. Diesel was panting up behind with every ounce of strength. Then there was trouble. Bill pushed the truck too hard. Diesel took no notice. He had wisely decided to stay clear. Then there was trouble. Bill pushed the truck too hard. "A train!" cried Diesel hard. "A train!" cried Diesel. There was trouble. Bill pushed the truck too hard. "A train!" cried Diesel. Diesel was panting up behind with every ounce of strength he had. He managed to close the gap, but he was running at full speed. "Stay with them, Diesel!" shouted his driver. "I can't keep up with them," panted Diesel. On, laughed the trucks. "You can't catch us!" Faster and faster they went. The trucks were beginning to pull away. Diesel tried his hardest, but it was no use. "No!" he groaned. Up ahead, Percy was waiting at a signal. "Look out!" shouted Diesel in horror, but it was all in vain. "So Diesel tried to stop the runaway," exclaimed Thomas. "Indeed. He ran right after it and didn't stop to think about his own safety," explained Rosie. "It was very brave of him. Bill and Ben have gotten away with it, and poor Diesel is accused of being the culprit." "I'll see to it that Bill and Ben get their comeuppance," replied Edward firmly. "I tried to tell someone, but no one would believe me." "This changes everything. We can't sentence him to exile if he is innocent." "The facts are clear now. All in favor of innocent, please whistle." "We've cleared Diesel's name. Where is he anyway?" "I think he's over by the woodshed in the yards." "He isn't anymore," said the shedmaster. "I've just got word from the signalman. He was told to leave and has already left the yards about an hour ago." "Then we must intercept him," cried Edward. The engines frantically steamed out of the sheds in a desperate bid to stop Diesel. "Poor Diesel," whispered Percy. "What have we done?" It was a nightmare. The engines could barely see anything in the storm and would call out to the signalmen in their boxes. "Please," they would say, "it's an emergency." And so the normal night trains were all set aside to allow them through. Finally, in the dull lights under the roof at the workstation, he saw a familiar-looking engine. "Diesel, thank goodness you're still here," panted Edward. "I've no choice," said Diesel. "He won't let me go." "You're not going anywhere." "Whatever are you engines doing here?" called the station master. "Old Frank in the box there has been telling me his phone has been ringing non-stop for the last hour about this Diesel. The inspector is on his way. Explain." As Edward told the tale, more engines arrived on the scene, all pleading their case. The station master was a kind man and listened carefully. "Right," he said, when they had caught him up to speed. "We'd better be quick then. The inspector will be here soon. I'll speak with control to get you back to the new sheds. All of you." All sections of the main line received notice of a special train coming from the works, and for all other trains to be shunted. First came Edward to clear the line, and thunderously came a parade of engines. In the middle of the formation, under escort, was Diesel. It didn't escape his notice that everyone who came to his rescue was a steam engine. By morning, the storm had eased to a light rain as the special train arrived. Bear got as close to the sheds as he could, but Gordon, James, and Henry were outside waiting. "Keep out!" The three engines barred his way. "Not this again," came a voice. The Fat Controller strode up crossly. "These passengers have come to take your pictures. Why have you—" "Whatever is the matter, Edward?" "Please, sir, ask Bear to leave the passengers there until you've had a chance to come in, sir," he frowned. The Fat Controller entered the shed and quietly closed the door behind him. The dispute he saw was acrimonious. The inspector was berating every engine around the turntable. His clothes were soaked and he looked like he hadn't slept a wink. "No thought to the timetable, no care for procedure or process, calls from every signalman down the line reporting unusual activity, took my bicycle out in the middle of the night, the middle of a thunderstorm to the workstation, and by the time I'd arrived, you'd all cleared off. Ruined my uniform, signalmen colluded and conspired against me to get you back home in your warm little sheds. All because of him." The Fat Controller saw instantly what he meant. Parked behind him, Duck was protecting Diesel. He was hissing steam ferociously at the inspector. "You said you'd give us until first light to figure out the truth," Percy jeered. "But you sent Diesel away during the storm anyway." "You didn't have all the facts," scowled Toby. "Silence!" Sir Topham Hatt left and put me in charge. An engine caused a severe accident. I made the decision to part ways with this troublesome Diesel. Did you really think I was going to let you lot tell me what to do? The Fat Controller had heard enough. "Inspector, a word, if you please." The inspector wheeled around, surprised. "Sir, these engines have mutinied. All out in the middle of the night, traffic "Yes, I heard," smiled the Fat Controller. "Inspector, I think you've had a long night. Perhaps—" "Oh, I have, sir, I have. All because of that troublemaker carrying in the corner, that black weasel. On my authority, he must leave. He's—" "On your authority?" "Well, on my authority, it sounds like perhaps you may have been too hasty in trying to send away an engine on my railway. Now, perhaps over some breakfast we could discuss—" "No!" shouted the inspector. He stamped over to Doc. "Move out of the way at once! I'll drive that wretched thing to the scrapyard myself if I have to. Move!" Doc stood firm. His driver and fireman glared. The engines erupted into a deafening barrage of furious whistles. The Fat Controller sighed. He had tried. He really had. "Inspector," he said calmly, "this magnificent new shed is railway property, and you must be a member of railway staff to be here. Please leave." The inspector's shoulders twitched. He stood there for a long time, staring right through Doc. Doc stared back. So did Diesel. He finally turned away and walked back to the Fat Controller. "These engines broke every rule in the book last night. I'm right about that, Diesel. I know I am. You'll see." And he threw his hat on the ground and left. The big engines came in, leaving Bear waiting anxiously outside. "I see before me an array of meddling engines. I do not approve of interference. This is my railway and I give the orders, I give the judgment, and I serve the punishment. However, I am not blind to what you have done. You have saved a fellow locomotive from a malicious prosecution. An act I'm sure was difficult to obtain considering the character that was under scrutiny. I am humbled you stood by, Diesel, and hope your actions will speak on your behalfs to him." "Well, sir, I think if it hadn't been for Edward being so level-headed, most of us would have jumped to the wrong conclusion." "Indeed," the Fat Controller considered. "Well, we all make mistakes. It's what we learn from them that's the most important of all. Now, are you all ready? I'm sure the enthusiasts are keen to see you all. Goodness knows what they think has been happening inside here." "I'll be on my way then," came a voice. Diesel spoke up for the first time all morning. "The enthusiasts are here to take photos of steam engines. I'd be ruining their pictures." "Not a chance," smiled Edward. Diesel looked around. All the engines were looking at him, beaming. "This shed is for the Fat Controller's engines," said Henry simply. The enthusiasts were soon buzzing around the shed, taking photographs and looking at all the engines. Everyone was very happy, but the happiest of all was Diesel. When Boko passed by, he hooted and cheered for Edward. I knew you'd do it, he cried. Edward beamed contentedly. Bill and Ben were reprimanded firmly. They were shut up in their shed for a whole week and barred from operating on the Fat Controller's railway for 3 months. The twins decided it wasn't worth playing their game ever again. Diesel remained on the railway. He never expressed his feelings, nor did he acknowledge the engine's involvement thereafter. But they knew, deep down, he was secretly grateful. Edward never mentioned that Duck had never whistled for Diesel's innocence in the final vote. He only asked Duck once about it. I think I thought it was retribution to what he had done to me all those years ago, when I was sent away. Now it was his turn. But as soon as I heard he'd gone, all that hatred and bitterness vanished. All I could think about was doing the right thing. That inspector was out of order. Diesel didn't deserve to be sent away. And I'm glad I stopped him. Edward smiled. You did the right thing, Duck.